Do you listen to the voice in your head? Like, what does he or she sound like? The voice in my head, yes, there's one. Well, she's a smartass, and she's always telling me these really smarty pant things that I try really hard not to say out loud most of the time because they're can be a little bit inappropriate, right? That's really the truth. But there are also a lot of times that she is telling me something really important that I have learned over time to decipher and use in my life. What does the voice in your head say on a regular basis? Hi, I'm Amy with Dragon's Foot Apothecary, and I'm just a working mom with trying to live well naturally the best that I can every day. And this is my little video log. So, we all have this voice in our head, right? That tells us stuff throughout the day and night, even, right? Pretty active at nighttime. I just really love it when this little voice gets all chatty at 3 a.m., right? You know what I'm talking about. Probably happens to you too, right? So, I have come to realize that there's three primary ways that this little voice talks most to me and most commonly, right? And I think I've finally figured out how to use some of what is being said, or, and make some real progress on it. So, okay, let's start with this little place one. This little voice is pretty active and quirky, right? And always coming up with these little things in conversations that I should stay through my day. It has both a good and bad side. The good side is makes it a lot of fun hanging out with friends, cutting up, making jokes, kind of like an ongoing community act, right? Kind of fun. This is my feel good side, and I love some of the ways that this little voice helps me be a good conversationalist and have some fun, right? It's a good thing to have. But the other side of it is, I have to admit, this is purely emotional. When it's a heated argument or something that gets me worked up mad, right? That's usually when I come up with the best zippy little comebacks that are not always so funny, and they can actually be pretty hurtful or go sometimes where I don't really want things to go, okay? And we all have that. This is a dangerous area to act from because it can be based on so many things that until you get through all the emotions, you could actually be making things worse. This is also the place where we encounter a lot of our own limiting beliefs because this little voice is all about protecting us. They have our back 24/7, and they keep all the lessons learned we've ever learned in our life when we've gotten hurt and remind us of that exactly when things even smell remotely the same. That can be both good and bad. So, I have found that the best place to come from when dealing with that side of my voice in my head is to feel the feelings, the good and the bad of them, and really sit with them, sort them through, get to the heart of it, right, and figure out what's bothering me and how I should solve it. You have to get past the hurt, pain, frustration, anger, and all the feels for this to really get clear. This is not, almost always not, a 5-minute thing, right? You're not going to talk to yourself for 5 minutes and have it figured out. I think all too often we just push our feelings aside and we don't feel them for what they are or acknowledge them even, and how much something is really hurting us, and we're mad about it, okay? Once you get to that bottom of it, you can legitimately make a plan to move past it and heal from it. And this little voice can be calmed down to work more naturally for us, to feel good again, right? Because that's all we really want. So now the second place this little voice spends a lot of time talking to me about is when she's trying to tell me what I should and should not be doing. Oh, I love this. It's super annoying because I really dislike anyone telling me what I can and cannot do. Seriously, there are so many things we as adults have to do that I really rebel when my ability to do what I want is hindered. There are, of course, reasons why you shouldn't do something. I get that. And sometimes you should listen to that little voice, but sometimes she's full of it, and I'm going to do it anyway. This too can be fear based and limiting us from a good opportunity, but it can also be one of those situations where that little voice is protecting us from something bad. Now, the trick here is to get down to the facts again, but build the list, do the pros and cons, and do your homework. Okay? This is where it's important to move past the assumptions and make sure you are making informed choices. I like to see myself as vetting the voice in my head's advice, right? Putting it on paper helps a lot in that situation. The last place this little voice comes up for me is in the middle of the night, okay? When things are kind of going crazy in my life and there are 2 and 3 a.m., I wake up thinking about it all. It's the worry, the guilt, the feelings of, and the what's next conversations I need to have with myself as a mom, wife, business owner, employee, you name it, all the labels. This is the voice I call my deep thinker because I have really tried to challenge myself in those particular moments in the middle of the night to ask what I'm going to do about it, right? If something is bothering me so much in the middle of the night, what am I going to do about it? Okay? Why is it so important that it's interrupting my sleep? We all know worrying doesn't do anything to resolve the situation. So I try to make this a proactive thinking time when it happens. And while I don't like looking at the ceiling fan in the middle of the night, if I'm going to be awake, I might as well try to fix something, right? And go back to sleep, like real sleep. This is also the voice of our dreams. So I want to speak to her about this area too. And by that, I'm saying we hear these thoughts or we see these dreams in the middle of the night. It is important to take note of them. They are trying to tell us something really big, and they're trying to help. And it could be something we need to manifest in our day. Okay? So, when all of that is going on, I really like this voice of all because it is where I am really seeing a lot of my ideas and dreams have possibility. See, when I turn the worries into something tangible, I can work on to make them better or create new. It not only makes it easier to go to sleep, right? Like I have a reasonable next step, but I also just took the brave move to making my dreams come true and into reality for what I really want in my life. I believe all of these variations of the voice in our head is completely natural, but it is what we do with it that makes the difference between a voice in our head that just is beating us up for feeling or failing or something not going well or we should have done something, to being a voice of wisdom we can deeply depend on to help guide us in creating the life we want. This is what I call living more naturally and in alignment with what is truly right based on our own wisdom that we already possess. Until next time, live well naturally, my friend, and I will see you there.